so many of you asked me about this keyboard under my other videos, I felt that this is the time to actually give it a good review. So let's jump straight in. This guy is the Keychron K4 HE. HE stands for Hall Effect. Now, I never thought I'm a big keyboard guy, but when I've seen this one online, I just couldn't help myself. It just looked so good, especially with this rosewood finish. It's actual wood. That's one of the things I checked before pressing purchase. In this video, we'll talk about everything about this keyboard. I purchased it myself. It's not sponsored. There's no one paying me to say things I'm gonna say. As with all my videos, we'll deep dive into not only specs and how it performs for me, but into the Reddit comments, also questions that have been asked, so you don't have to Google everything yourself, and I'll include all the links below in the description. And I think the best place to start is with the construction. Now, it is a heavy keyboard, as you can see here, but it's not fully unibody aluminum. The only aluminum, and it's aluminum, not aluminum, it's got an I in it, right? The only aluminum we've got is on the frame of the thing. However, the whole bottom is plastic, which is a really odd choice, because I thought, since this is a limited edition, I thought it's not going to be limited by construction. Don't get me wrong, it feels very solid, it feels like a proper brick. But if you want this full alloy chassis, you need to look somewhere else. Now look, if you're enjoying this video, I'd really appreciate a like and subscribe and hype button, because it does help massively to create more content like this. Back to the video. There's a little bit of an anecdotal thing in terms of the build quality, but I did manage to spill the whole cup of coffee on this. And don't judge me, but I do drink milky coffee in the mornings. And if you know how these things dried up, typically you are screwed unless you take the keyboard apart. Now, because I genuinely thought that this keyboard is donezo, this is it, because it was hot coffee straight in the morning. Shit happens, right? This is the kind of Mondays you don't want. And I did something I probably shouldn't have, which is rinse the whole thing. I let it dry, and it's alive. All LEDs are working as they did. There's no issues with connectivity, latency, misclicks, whatever. It just works. So either I got very lucky, or Keychron, you did a good thing here. Now, being a complete moron, I obviously didn't record it, so you have to take my word for it. One of the complaints I've seen on Reddit, and I can't really attest it myself, is the sound that keys make on their way up, which some people reported, so it's not just one weird person out there saying that. But I couldn't really replicate the sound. I think they do sound thocky enough. It's definitely not the loudest keyboard you're gonna get. For kind of a mid-level thockiness, this is how it sounds. Now, when it comes to switches, Keychron has been known to use subpar switches for many of their keyboards. This one here is probably their first Hall Effect keyboard that actually sounds good, and it functions really, really well. Obviously, some of the pro gamers might be looking somewhere else, because apparently there is a little bit of a latency on these that you wouldn't get from more expensive keyboards, like, for example, the Wooting or Leke. The difference here, however, is loads of extra money you would have to pay for these keyboards, and for the majority of players, I'm pretty sure you won't be able to notice that. Not that any keyboard can solve my shit gaming anyway, but, you know, I had to try. Now, speaking of switches, you can't replace them with, say, lacquer ones. They have to be Gateron double-railed magnetic switches. And still on the switches side, how's the typing on this thing? I would say, look, if you're coming from a low-profile keyboard, this is gonna feel a little bit weird at first. But that would be true for any mechanical keyboard, to be fair. All I can say is that my typing isn't much slower than it is on, say, Logitech MX keys. As you might have noticed, the layout is 96%. I personally can't really live without having an access to the numpad. It's my muscle memory thing. I always input all the numbers on the numpad because it's just faster, and I'm just used to it, and I will never let go. So if you're looking for a tiny keyboard because you've got some kind of a hate towards numpads, you need to look somewhere else. But I do make this keyboard in smaller form factors, so that might be a solution for you. But this one fits perfectly into my workflow. It's small enough so it doesn't take so much space on the desk, like you can see here with the MX keys next to its side, but it retains all the functionalities I need from a proper keyboard. One of the things that most people agree with is that this is the perfect budget, well, depends how you define budget, it's still around $179. But let's just assume budget when you compare them to some of the higher-end competitors, offering premium features like the Rapid Trigger, Snap Tap, or SOCD, and all of that for significantly less money. And look, if you're after the perfect gaming working hybrid, this keyboard should be on your list. Now, when it comes to the software, it is web-based, so you can use it pretty much anywhere, and the keyboard retains its information. It's got a memory inside, so if you need to move your keyboard between your home office and your office, all your settings will be preserved. And this web software is actually really good. From the front menu, you can set your actuation distance, you can set the rapid trigger options. You can also set one key multiple commands. Depending how hard you press the key, it might have a specific function attached to this. I don't see that useful in my case, but I'm pretty sure you might find one. Now we've got a long press switch where you can assign one of the keys. If you press it for longer, it can launch an action. Now in SOCD is where things get interesting. You can set up your snap clicks, last key priority, absolute priority, or the cancel mode, depending on how you prefer for the keys to be released or cancelled when you press the other one. You also get a gamepad analog mode, so that basically means you can use your keyboard as an analog input. Depending how deep you press on one of the keys, you'll get more or less feedback from the car or accelerator, which again, if you play a lot of racing games, might be really useful. And then you can also switch between different layouts so you can see what's being assigned where. So you've got your actuation distance, depending on the keys you set it to. So my one's at medium and I find it pretty much spot on. And then your rapid triggers on all the keys when gaming. Also, you can create separate different profiles. So something different for working, for gaming, and the gamepad settings if you're simulating a gamepad, which I do prefer to play my racing games on a pad. Shoot me, I do prefer them that way. You can also customize your key map. You can customize your macros, your special keys. You can customize your lightning setups. Apart from the key map, the rest is very standard. You can set your backlight to what you want it or just switch it off altogether. And there's also a new firmware that just came out. It doesn't change anything significant. Some bugs related to per key mix RGB lighting fixed an issue when the backlight would not turn on after factory reset. I've seen that one on Reddit. I didn't know it was actually a thing, but clearly they fixed it now, so kudos. One of the issues some people highlighted is the fact that the cable included with the keyboard is a little bit short. I mean, I don't really have that issue with my setup, but just keep that in mind. Also, because the USB-C port is slightly recessed, you might have an issue with beefier USB-C cables. Again, something you need to keep in mind when buying this. However, this keyboard works in Bluetooth, in 2.4 GHz dongle thing, and in cable configuration. Now, personally, I like having things connected, so there's no interference coming from my other devices. I've got tons of different Bluetooth signals in my house, and I just find that having that stable connection with the cable is best. Since we're on that topic, one of the things I've noticed is that if you're in 2.4 GHz mode or Bluetooth, you can't save the settings from the web interface. It only works when you connect the cable. Now, I'm not sure this affects everyone, but certainly some of the Reddit posts suggest that it does. Now, if you've been eyeing up these keyboards and you're wondering whether the limited edition is worth extra $10, well, I would say it depends really on the vibe you want to get out of your desk. I hate using this word as a 40-year-old, but yes, it looks great. It feels great. It games fantastically. It's easy to type on. I personally don't have any issues with this one. So if you can't splash close to $300 and you need a solid, nice looking keyboard that sounds great and performs fantastically, I think this Keychron might be it. Anyway, I'll see you in the next one. I need to get my ass kicked in Arc Raiders. See ya.